All right. I'm calling to order the Zoning Board of Appeals regular meeting for Thursday, September 18th, 2025. The time is 6:30 p.m. And roll present, we have Brian. Roll call.
Brian Cole, alternate.
Michaela Pearson, alternate.
Kip Kotzen.
Nancy Hutchinson, chair.
Stephanie Mickle.
Russell Fogg.
Kathleen Creasy, alternate.
Eric Knapp, zoning enforcement officer.
And absent is Steve Dix, member, and also our ZBA clerk. So this is our secretary. She's going to help keep track of everything. So seated for today's meeting will be myself, Kip Kotzen, Stephanie Mickle, Russ Fogg, and Michaela Pearson. Okay. Now, before we open the public hearing, I think the board needs to consider two administrative motions to delay the opening of the public hearings for two cases deemed by the ZEO to be incomplete. Did you want to say something, or do you want me to say something?
No, we'll start with 15 Liberty. 15 Liberty is a property that's in the flood zone. They have proposed improvements that do not involve elevating the structure. I asked for proof that they were not going over the substantial improvements number or 50% of the value of the structure. We did not receive evidence regarding that. I don't believe that this board should be considering a application in a flood zone without proof that they're going to be able to stay underneath the substantial improvements figure. And therefore, I did not prepare a memo, and I believe the matter is not ready to go forward. So that's 15 Liberty.
So with that, I would like to make a motion to delay the opening of the public hearing for case 25-10, 15 Liberty Street to the October 16th, 2025 regular meeting, the Meeting Hall, Memorial Town Hall, 52 Lime Street, Old Lyme, Connecticut. Would anyone like to second that?
I'll second it.
That was Kip. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstaining? None. The motion passed unanimously 5-0.
Okay, that brings us to 70 Sea Spray. 70 Sea Spray has not received final approval from Ledgelight Health District. My understanding is that Cheryl Haas is, from Ledgelight is meeting with Joe next Tuesday at 2 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken, to go over remaining issues. In speaking with Cheryl directly today, she indicated she had concerns regarding the substantial amount of drainage issues on site and where that drainage was going to go in relation to the septic system. As a result, again, she has not signed off on this Ledgelight Health District approval. The board has established a policy after a particular application last year of not acting on or not taking up applications that do not have final Ledgelight approval. So I would strongly encourage this matter not go forward tonight until we know from Ledgelight whether they're going to be able to get their approval or not.
So with that, I'd like to make a motion to delay the opening of the public hearing for case 25-12C, 70 Sea Spray to the October 16th, 2025 regular Meeting Hall, Memorial Town Hall, 52 Lime Street, Old Lyme, Connecticut. Would anyone like to second that motion?
Second.
Okay, I heard Russ first. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstaining? None. The motion passed unanimously 5-0. Okay, with that administrative stuff out of the way, we're going to move ahead to the public hearing. And before we start the public hearing, I usually give instructions to applicants to help facilitate an efficient review. Please present the evidence that an unusual and unnecessary hardship exists based on the strict application of the zoning regulations due to some peculiar condition of the property itself, and that the condition does not generally affect other properties in the district. Also, that the evidence that the variances requested are the minimum necessary to alleviate the unusual hardship and allow reasonable use of the property, to indicate whether any reduction in legal pre-existing nonconformity is proposed, and the evidence that the variances requested are in harmony with the intent and purpose of zoning regulations and the comprehensive plan of zoning. So with that, we'd like to go on to case 25-11, 50 Boston Post Road, was requesting variances to demolish the existing detached garage and construct a house addition with an attached garage in the street line and other property line setback, increasing lot coverage on a non-conforming RU40 lot. Philip and Susan Beckman, applicants. So this is a non-conforming structure on a non-conforming RU40 lot. The variances requested are to 8.8.7, minimum street setback, 50 feet required, 8.8.9, minimum side setback, 35 feet required. 8.8.11, maximum building structure coverage, maximum 10% of lot area. And 9.3.1, no enlargement of non-conforming structure unless the enlarged portion complies with the regulations. And just as an information, the plans have obtained inland wetlands administrative permit approval as of August 6th, 2025. So with that, I leave it to you to present to the board, and thank you for all your work.
Thank you. Before I get started, those other two applications were also ours. I just want to add just a brief little bit of color to that. So the one with 15 Liberty Street, the applicant had a major neck decompression surgery, so he's been a little sidetracked, so not able to focus with the contractor to come up with that estimate. So no delay on anybody's part. Obviously that took precedence over getting the 50% numbers done. So they're working on that now that he's recovering and working with the contractor. The other one, we just received Cheryl's comments on Tuesday, and I asked her if she could meet Wednesday, but she couldn't meet until next week. So we had no chance to try to resolve before this meeting. So I just want to let you know it's not applicant's fault, it's not our fault. We're just working with the Ledgely Health District to get you what you need before the next meeting.
Thank you very much.
So for the record,
I see you passed something out. Is this an exhibit?
that is an exhibit. That's from Denise Von Dassel, who's the project architect, and she'll review that when she presents after me.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll just label it, because you've handed it out, I'll just label it as Exhibit 1.
Sure. For the record, Joe Wren, professional engineer of Indigo in Old Saybrook. So the first of two applications that we have for you tonight is the one that is up here. This is for Phil and Susie Beckman, who are with us tonight with their daughter and fiance. Can I say? Almost husband. So, congratulations. You're the record. So they will be living in this house, hopefully with the proposed improvements. Also, Denise Von Dassel is here. She's the project architect. And then the second row on the right side is Caroline, who helped put the plan and the application together. She works in my office, just so you know all the faces. So this property is at 50 Boston Post Road. We've all driven by it a million times. Some smaller homes in this general area. The current situation is there's a small rectangular home here with a little bump out on the west side. And then there's a small detached garage there as well, highlighted also in yellow on the west side. What's being proposed is to remove that little bump out on the west side and the detached garage and construct this addition. In constructing this addition and working with all the parameters on this project, we're able to improve the setback conformity on the west side. Because of the angle of the house, how it's slightly, you could probably see it on the plan. It's slightly angled to the street just a little bit, so extending that line up just gets a couple of inches closer to the street line on that side. But effectively, as you drive by, it appears to be, we're not going out 10 feet, so you're not really going to be able to tell the difference. It's basically in line with the front of the house. In doing this, obviously, we do eliminate some coverage, those yellow pieces, but we do add a little bit of coverage. And that is one of the variances, going just over the 10% to 10.7%. This property is in the RU40 zone, so we're supposed to have an acre of land. And we only have 12,649, that looks like, or 849. So we have less than a third of the required property. So if this, of course, was an R40, a real R40 lot, the house would be able to be much bigger, and we wouldn't need a variance for coverage. So since the lot is small, we are asking for that coverage variance as a percentage of the small lot area. In addition to that, there are inland wetlands back here. We do have a 100-foot inland wetlands buffer. We have that line shown on here, kind of goes through the house, the existing house, and the proposed addition. As Nancy mentioned, we do have staff administrative wetlands approval for this. We also, I don't think Nancy mentioned the health approval There is an existing septic system back here that we are reusing. We did do a little bit of work and some soil testing there, and that has been approved. There is a health approval for this particular project.
Yep.
What's highlighted on this map in blue are the setbacks. So you can see the shape and the position and the small size of those setbacks, and you can see the home built decades ago is almost completely outside of the setbacks. The addition and also the detached garage completely outside, or I should say completely in the setback. So there's really no way to avoid that with construction, so we tried to make things the minimum amount necessary to get a reasonably sized addition that suits the applicant's needs. So the application that we provided on the first page, it lists the variances. I'll just go through those quickly. So obviously, as I had mentioned before, the front setback is, the street line setback is all the way here, this front blue line. So clearly we're well into that street line setback. Currently, the porch is 25.6, and that's this porch here. And that will remain but not change. The main portion of the house will remain, and the closest the house currently is 30.9 to the front setback, the front property line. The closest this addition, like I had mentioned before, putting it in that same plane, is 30.4 here to that street line, so it's 0.5 closer than the existing just because of the nature of the angle. We have the other line setback, which is 8.8.9, and that is on the western side. There, the existing is 12.8 feet, and we are proposing 15.6 feet, so about 2.8 feet, almost 3 foot better than on that side. But again, you can see where the 35-foot setback is. So the garage is completely in that. The detached one, we're bringing it back down a little bit more closer to conforming. The coverage, we're allowed 10% in the R40 zone. And as you know how old Lyme zoning regulations are, as the properties get larger, the percent of the allowed coverage goes down because of obvious reasons. So an R40 zone on a 40,000 square foot lot, 10% of that, you can get 4,000 square feet of coverage and be conforming. Since the lot area is existing non-conforming and it's only less than a third of what's there, the coverage goes down to 10% of that. So instead of that 4,000, we get 1,285 or so square feet to conform to coverage. And it's close to that since we're just 10.7 over. I think it's 1,376 or 1,378 square feet that is being proposed. So just a bit over to get this addition. And I know Denise worked very hard with the applicants to not make the house any bigger and make it the minimum size that suits the needs of the applicant. And lastly, we have, of course, 9.3.1, which is no enlargement of an existing nonconformity. So we have everything outside the setbacks on these sides, and we're changing that and expanding that in that area. So, of course, that applies.
May I ask, the blue line, is that the buildable? What
Yes,
is that?
Those are the setbacks,
That's-
highlighted setbacks. So we have, I believe it's 50-foot front yard here.
Yeah.
35-foot sides, and then of course we have the rear too that comes in. And it's not highlighted on here, but the 100-foot line for the wetlands comes right through the house as well.
But you've gotten approval for that.
Yeah, we got the approval for that, but it's just another restriction on the property, and then we have the septic system here, for encroaching in that direction. We have those other restrictions to consider. So on the second page of your application, number 2 is variance requested to allow. That one is the proposed variances are requested to allow the applicant to demolish the existing non-conforming detached garage and construct a modest house addition, including an attached garage and roof modifications. The improvements will require 2 setback variances and 1 coverage variance, but will conform to the building height, 29 feet versus 35 feet, so 6 foot lower than the height allowable. And GFA, only a net of 113 square feet of GFA is proposed to be added to the structure. Number 3, strict application to zoning regulations would not allow the modest addition to be constructed as proposed. The house was built in 1952, so 70 plus years ago, in its current location. 70 plus. In its current location. Since the house is nearly entirely in current street and side yard setbacks, any addition to the house or roof modifications would require variances, obviously. The subject property is just 93.3 feet wide, and I didn't say 93 feet plus. 93.3 feet wide, and setbacks are 35 feet on each side, so 70 feet of the width are restricted setbacks. So 70 minus the 93.3, we have 23.3, which is represented by that width of the blue lines there in between. That's the existing house is 30.9 feet to the street line, where 50 feet street line setback is required. More than 94% of the lot is restricted by front, side, and rear setbacks. So this little piece here represents about 6% of the property. The rest is restricted by setbacks, and that's about 94% of the property. So that's very substantial. Additionally, the majority of the property is encumbered by the 100-foot wetland review area, which we already went over. Combining the upland review area with the property setbacks, essentially 100% of the property is encumbered, because you can see the line comes there. So it's just that little teensy-weensy triangle that's in the existing house. If we're out of the 100-foot review area, out of all the building setbacks, we would have that little tiny piece, which is
So basically, you're
less than
saying
1%.
if you try to stay within the setbacks, you'd actually be encroaching more closely on the wetlands.
Toward the septic system and toward the wetland, yes.
Yeah.
So the wetland is here, this
Yeah.
gray area, so as we
Yeah.
come back this way, we'd be
Right.
toward the wetland.
So
as
two
well.
conflicting needs to
Correct.
stay in this.
Yeah, I'm trying to balance out, because part of the addition here is within the 100 feet.
Yeah,
It's just not much closer to the existing wetlands, and hence the reason for the approval of that. And not having to go to the wetlands board, it was just administrative review. Caroline went to the site walk out there. We had an application, and they said, we don't need to see this, it's
Yeah.
minor enough, so they allowed Eric.
right, because you have an existing garage that's almost as close.
Exactly, so that's why we tried not to, again, all the
Yeah.
conflicting issues here, we try not to encroach the wetlands much more, and we try to make that setback better there, and it's a kind of marriage, no pun intended. It's kind of a marriage of all the conflicting restrictions.
Yeah.
Septic, wetlands, zoning setbacks, coverage. So now to figure out where I left off here. So the subject property, this section is almost done here. It's in the RU40 zone, the lot area of 12,849, only 32% of the minimum required. So as I mentioned, about a third, a little less than a third. And the width, we already talked about 93.3 is only about 62% of the 150 feet minimum. And then the DOT right-of-way between the edge of the road and the front property is approximately 23 feet. So the house appears to meet the setback from the edge of the road. So
That's
it's about
awesome.
30 feet back,
Yeah.
and it's this section here between the property line and the edge of Route 1 is about 23 feet. So it appears that the house is 50 feet back.
Yeah.
You don't see the property line when you drive by. So as you're driving by, this appears to be 50 feet back, but really it's 30 from the property line and
Yeah.
20 from the street.
That,
So
we take that into consideration.
yeah, of course, it makes sense, right? Because
Yeah.
It doesn't thwart the meaning of the regulation. The regulation, it looks like it would obey the regulation.
And that's why it was important to mention that there, because the combination of the two puts us right there, actually a little bit more than 50 feet. Number 4, the unusual hardship. So as aforementioned, number 3 above, the lot is unique since it's a small, grossly non-conforming lot of record that is 94% encumbered by yard setbacks and nearly entirely 100% when combined with the wetlands review area. When compared to other RU40 lots in the district, the subject lot is exceptionally small, which substantially reduces coverage and gross floor area allowances. On a conforming 40,000 square foot RU40 lot, approximately 6,000 square feet of GFA and 4,000 square feet of building coverage would be permitted. However, since the area is only 12,849, as we mentioned before, only 1927 square feet of GFA max and 1285 square feet of building max coverage are allowed without variances. Number 5, almost done here. Number 5, reductions and pre-existing nonconformities. The southwestern side yard, as we mentioned before, will be increased 12.8 to 15.6 feet for proposed reduction of about 2.8 feet, and that's represented the difference between the yellow edge there and the proposed dark edge. B, although not a reduction of nonconformity, the proposed addition will align with the existing front house wall with the street levels. And again, I just go down that it appears to be 50 feet back with the edge of the road. And then lastly, the proposed work will enhance the neighborhood, increase property values in the vicinity, of course, with the new renovations. The proposed yard setback variances will not extend closer to property lines as described above. Additionally, the southwest side yard setback nonconformity will be improved. The septic system was recently replaced with a much more code compliant system. Due to all of these factors, the project is in harmony with the purpose and intent of the zoning regulations and will not adversely affect the comprehensive plan of zoning. So the homeowner, who also sits on the ZBA board and has some familiarity with this, put together this, and we know that ZBA doesn't set any precedents, but it's good to look at the harmony of the area and of the neighborhood. So we highlighted on here, it's a little GIS printout, and it just shows coverages of surrounding properties. And it shows existing conditions, of course. 50 Boston Post Road is about 1378, but houses around it are 2,000, 1,500, 1,900, 1,800, 1,600. So the proposed coverage fits right into, or is even on the small end of that. We could submit that as.
So what we're seeing is that this would still be the most modest house dwelling in the neighborhood.
You're one of the bottom.
The other one.
Even though the percent coverage is.
Oh, if you're going to speak, you have to come up and introduce yourself.
Phil Beckman,
Come
owner.
closer, come closer.
Phil Beckman, owner. The one that is the smallest one is on the corner of right there. I don't know what the road is, but right across the street.
Across from Blackwell.
Yes, Blackwell. And looking at it, it's pretty dilapidated. It could probably use a refurbishment like I'm trying to do. So.
All right, so some other housekeeping items here. We have Eric's letter. I don't have to read it. I believe you all received it.
Yep.
You all were
Yep.
able to review that. So a lot of the points that I just made were kind of mirrored in that letter, so thank you, Eric. And
Do
then we
you have
have-
more than one of this one or just one?
We just have one.
I got more.
Oh, okay, because we'd like to keep one for the file.
Yeah, just so we can keep that one for an exhibit. I think
Yeah.
everybody got to peek
Yeah.
at it.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them.
Thank you so much.
Those are black and white. Mine is color. So.
Well, that's the one that's going in the file.
Too much.
That's the one going in the file. Anybody else like to copy of this?
I'd like to look at it.
Yeah. Pass it down.
So while you are reviewing that exhibit, we have 2 letters of support.
Okay.
Those are the colored ones.
Keep the color one for the record.
Yeah.
13, 15.
So when you're ready, just let me. I'll go over the letters of support.
Okay. So this is exhibit number 2, because we numbered the other one already.
Yeah, and that's
This
just
is really
from
helpful. Every application came with one piece.
sometimes
Yeah.
it depends on what variances are being requested, but often
Just to
we
get a
would-
sense of the neighborhood.
of the neighborhood.
Sorry, folks.
But this application, I really like that. What I had mentioned before is we have the 20 and the 30 visually.
Yeah.
On paper, yes, it's only 30, but, you know, that was very impactful and helpful, so I'm glad that we.
Actually, can I ask about the, I'm just confused about the stone drive, the curved driveway.
Mhm.
So that's there now,
Correct.
and it's going to remain.
Yes,
Okay, and so you're adding the other piece up there.
this year,
Yeah,
to come
to
into
connect it, right,
the new
right.
process.
Okay, and so is that in the town right of way there, that curved drive?
It's actually in the state right away,
The
yes.
state right of way?
Existing condition, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, they have 2 paved aprons, so it's an existing condition,
Right.
so it'll be allowed to remain
Okay.
as an existing condition.
okay.
If this became like a sports bar, then that would probably change.
The surface is gonna be something permeable,
It says crushed stone.
We had crushed stone drive, and that's what it will be.
If I could add, Phil Beckman again, the circular drive, if you look at most of the properties on Route 1, they're all circular
Yeah,
drives because you
yeah.
can't back out of the driveway.
Right, right. But so the state is okay with that because it's pre-existing? Yeah.
I haven't even approached the state, but I'm assuming that
It's an
Yeah,
existing.
we don't have to go to
existing
DOT
drive.
because we're not proposing to do anything within the
Right.
state right of way. If we were proposing to change or alter or add one of those, then we would have to go to the state. But yeah, dealing with the DOT on all of our state roads around here, as long as it's an existing condition and the use is staying the same, then they would allow it to change. As soon as you change the use, all that's off. So we have 2 letters of support. So they're relatively
Are
short.
these
Read them.
in, have these
I
in the
know I'm
file?
going to give you copies once I read them.
Okay,
Is
okay,
that
okay. So yeah, I'm just saying that we don't have them in the file yet. I don't remember seeing them.
Did they send them in to ZBA, do you know?
Phil Beckman, I sent them to your website the night before last.
Okay.
I sent them on your
Craig.
website.
Oh, yeah, it looks like they are there.
okay.
Here's your stuff.
There's one
Okay,
of
I
them.
just haven't seen them yet. So go ahead and read them.
Okay, yeah. so
I want to
yeah,
make sure they're in the
It
file.
looks like they're in, both of them are
okay.
in that file.
So now-
I know he's gonna, he'll read it to us.
Yeah, I'll read it, so it's part of the record.
Just keep that in the
They're
file.
short enough.
Of course.
So 48 Bus Road, you just have to help me with their name, because I can't read the signature.
Christine and Troy Barbado.
Barbados, okay. And they're here. Okay, thank you. It's just, I got the B, but after the BA. So they are here. That's great to know.
Should we write it on there?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to spell it.
It's B-A-R-B-A-T as in
Wait,
Tom.
wait. B-A-R-B-A-T-O.
BAT.
Barbados. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
And Christine, right?
Yes.
Christine, okay.
And
This is gonna be Walsh, I think, right, the other one?
That's Sam and Donna Walsh.
W-A-L-S-H. Okay, just want to make sure for the clerk.
Totally great.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so the first one, 48 Boston Post Road, Old Lyme, they're in a butter to 50 Boston Post Road, the application. Mr. Beckman has shown the construction and site plans for the proposed changes for the house at 50 Boston Post Road. Moving the garage almost 3 feet away from our property line is a significant change in my perspective. Reducing the expanse of the footprint seems to only enhance the visual aesthetics of the house on such a small lot. The 4 lots in the immediate vicinity, 48, 50, 52, and 54, are all significantly undersized for the area. The Beckmans are doing an excellent job of creating a house that would both support a family and maintain the character of the neighborhood. I view these changes as enhancing property values in the area. I fully support the Beckmans' proposed changes. Signed, Christine Bartato.
Barbado.
Say it again. Okay, close. Barbato, okay. So the second one, this is 41 Boston Post Road on Lime, across the street from 50 Boston Post Road.
So on this map, where is it?
Across the street.
41. This is 45.
Yeah. So this is the subject property. So it's one of those 2. The one on the corner or the next one over?
It's the one on the left as you're looking across the street from 50
So
Boston
this one,
Post.
this one?
So there are 3 of them between the roads, the one in the middle?
Sorry. This is 50. It's this one.
Yep, the one in the middle.
That's the Walshes.
Okay, let's put 41. Okay.
Awesome. I have seen the plans for proposed changes to the house at 50 Boston Post Road and would like to provide my support for this project. I understand that the lateral expanse of the house is being reduced. I view this as no small feat. As it is now, the house is extremely modest and on a very small lot. Any efforts to reduce lateral expansive structure seems like a worthwhile endeavor and should be viewed positively by the board. I think they mean the width from the detached garage to the other edge of the house is coming in by almost 3 feet. As one of the smallest lots and homes in the neighborhood, it seems like there wouldn't be too much room for improvement. The Beckmans seem to be making a good faith effort to respect zoning while providing for a reasonable use of their property. Again, I support the proposed changes at 50 Boston Post Road and hope the ZBA approves the changes. Sarah Walsh and what's the other name? Sarah and Donna Walsh? Okay. Sam, sorry. Samuel, okay. I got you.
And Phil Beckman again. I did speak to Mr. Detmeyer at 39 Boston Post. He's the bigger lot here. I spoke to him. He didn't have a letter with him or time, so he did give me a verbal that he was supportive.
Thank you very much.
And there's no known opposition that we know of. So without further ado, unless you have any questions for me, I'll let Denise go through the architectural plans and that exhibit that she handed out.
I think it was very helpful you saying how you're trying to balance so many different conflicting needs.
It was,
the wetlands.
for a modest project, it had its challenges. For
Yeah.
sure.
Pretty burdened
Yeah.
lot, yeah.
It does really seem like you're trying your best to comply. But anyway, let's hear what the architect has to
Thank
say.
you.
Good evening, Denise Von Vessel, KB Designs is my firm. Okay, I'm gonna go to the existing. I want to point out a couple of things. So this house currently has, it's just a modest, small size cape. It's 1.5 stories. On a crawl space, and it does have a small, I think it's like 8 by 8.5 kitchen extension on the side. Currently, the mechanicals are all in the crawl space. The crawl space is very damp, and so part of this project is removing them and putting them above floor level. The other thing is they have no storage, so that's part of the piece of the puzzle. And lastly, the upper level the ceiling height, it's under the sloped roof, and the ceiling height is only 6'5.5" at the highest. And there's no way to dormer it without literally a flat roof dormer, because underneath the peak of the roof is about 8 feet. This line here which is above the ceiling framing, is where your 7-foot code compliant headroom is. So, originally they wanted to put a dormer on to get more functionality out of the upper level. To go back to what Joe said, expanding out is limited, so our option really is to go up. And to do that, we really need to replace the roof. So that's part of this. So in this design, you'll see this dashed line here represents the existing roof line. So what I'm trying to do is do a salt box, so we actually get full headroom on the back, but from the street, it's keeping that low, roof line, low appearance.
So the taller wall is the
It's
back
on the
wall.
back side, correct. The other thing is that kitchen little adjunct that I mentioned. We're taking the walls down, but we're leaving the foundation. So we're building off of that. So this front wall of this enlargement of this 8 by 8.5 foot space connecting to the new garage is building off of that, or behind the existing foundation. So that's why we're maintaining that 1 foot bump, and I didn't push it back further because we weren't tearing it down. Okay, so, and I didn't, and so it's a foot back. So I pushed the garage a foot forward, again, as Joe mentioned, to align it with the front of the house. Instead of keeping it the 1 foot back, it looks too flat. So this is how it would look from the street. Again, it's 1 story. Where basically it's a living room and a 5 foot wide mudroom entry and a standard 12 by 24 foot 1 car garage with some storage for lawn equipment and that kind of thing. They don't have a shed, this is it. So storage is really at a premium, we are also building in some storage with some attic space, but I'm keeping the attic space, lower than the 6 feet, so I didn't go over my floor area.
Where'd you put the?
What are
sorry.
you doing for the subfloor? Is it going to be a flat slab, or you still have a crawl space? Are you rebuilding the crawl space?
We're going to try to mitigate some of the water issues in the crawl space, but we're not. We're just taking everything out of it.
Okay.
Where are you?
But
putting
that
the
is going to stay there, the crawl space, or it's going to be the foundation for
Yeah.
your building.
For the house, yeah. So the first floor, we're just doing some rearrangement of some rooms. It's a 3-bedroom house. Currently, the first floor, you come in, there's a dining room that's too small, really, for a table, little kitchen, a living area, and then 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. And 1 bedroom, again, that's really limited with, this bathroom looks big, but when you consider all the slope ceilings, it's not big at all up here. And that's all we could fit.
You said you're taking the mechanicals out of the.
Yes,
well,
we are
where
going
they
to locate them, some of them in this area underneath the stairs on the main floor, and then some above the new created attic space above the living room.
Okay.
And then, so what we want to do is create more living space above to put 2 bedrooms upstairs, keep 1 bedroom on the main floor, keep the bathroom on the main floor. Working from home is, a big thing these days. So we're creating this small, I'm calling it a flex room, but it's really like an office. And then it's just a small kitchen, living dining. It's not a big house. We're not trying to go huge. We're just trying to fulfill the needs of the clients. And again, create utility space, and maintain some storage.
So just to summarize some things, it's a reasonably sized house. You're trying to. What you're doing will also improve some health and safety because you're getting stuff out of the crawl space.
Correct.
You're having something that's more reasonable, I think, in terms of the how it's laid out. It's supported by the neighbors. It fits with the neighborhood. You've decreased some pre-existing nonconformities.
By shifting that garage over and attaching it to the house.
And the connection between the two, that is just in the front half of the house. The back half of the house doesn't have a roof over it.
No,
just
this
an
is
open
just
terrace.
open.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. There is a terrace back there now.
Yep.
You can actually, so if you look at these drawings, this one on the top is how the house appears from the street.
Yep.
And if you look a little bit to the left, you can see that picture next to it shows you the detached garage with the fence and the corner of the house. This picture all the way on the right shows the rear of the existing house and how it appears. And then you can see that on the bottom, these 2 photos on the bottom, that little kitchen bump out that's there currently that we want to build off of. And then you can see kind of a dangerous step condition getting into the side kitchen door
Yeah.
in the other photo.
And from the front view, it looks just about as substantial as it's going to be in the final thing. It's a little bigger on the main part of the house, but that doesn't look so different. Just looks tidier instead of having a detached garage with a shaky fence in between.
Yeah.
You've got
We're just tightening it up a little bit.
squeezing
And
them together and
yeah, I mean,
consolidating.
yep, so that kitchen, little addition on that left ends right here. So we're just adding a couple of feet, making this a little bit wider.
I think, I don't really have any questions. I think you explained it very, very well. Does anyone else have any questions for the
If I can just get one clarification, you list this on your exhibit here as 50 Old Boston Post Road. This is actually is 50 Boston.
Boston Post Road, gotcha. Yeah, scribble that, sorry.
There is
It is an old road.
There is an old Boston Post Road. though.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what
not
I
this
wanted
one.
to make sure.
Thank you.
that
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
not-
This one too.
Okay.
My fear was we put a legal notice because it was, but no, actually,
Yeah.
going is
No.
Boston Post Road. and-
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
I have it right over.
So if I'm summarizing things, so one of the hardships is that the existing house is almost completely already in the front setback.
Yes.
But you are reducing some legal pre-existing nonconformities.
Yes.
You're making a house that's not much bigger, it's very reasonably sized, it's improving health and safety, it's supported by the neighbors, it fits with the neighborhood.
And,
Already
and
has
it's got that
approval from
extenuating
wetlands.
circumstance where the
approval
lot
from
is so small, it's actually surrounded by
There's nothing you
wilderness.
can do, really.
Yeah, there's nothing they, and normally we would ask, but it's sort of ridiculous to ask, maybe I'll ask anyway. Have you tried to purchase the adjoining properties to expand the size of the lot? I don't think. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, technically, that's something
Right.
we
And
should ask.
I think the way there's no conditions of approval that I think we need to request.
Oh.
Okay.
Nancy, just before you close, the homeowner would just like to say a very brief statement.
Oh, please come up.
Hi, Phil Beckman again. Just, Susie tells me I gotta read a room. I read the room. I had everything prepared. I was gonna defend my position, but I'm good at reading a room. Do appreciate your time. We did buy the house in 2001. Everything that you see that we planned wasn't something that we did on a whim. This has been 4 years in the making, so we've been thinking hard on this, and a lot of effort went in the plans.
It comes across as very well thought out and planned and trying to balance so many different conflicting needs. I think that's where it comes across very clearly.
Thanks. Hand it done.
Okay. So if no one has any other questions, then I think, would anybody like to make a motion to close the...
You open a public
Oh,
comment.
forgot. I always forget. Would like to open up the public comment. Would anybody like to speak in favor of this application?
We own the house.
Please have to come up. Yeah.
Come up and announce your name for the
And
recording.
your name and where your
Christine
address.
Barbato. I'm at 48 Boston Post. So we've been there about a little over 30 years. Nobody stays because it's too small. These guys are amazing. We want them to stay. Just let them make their house right. And the plants are gorgeous. So it's only going to enhance our property. So we're for it.
Okay. Would anybody else like to?
Like Barbados, I got it.
Would anybody else like to speak in favor of this application? Would anybody like to speak opposed to this application? Would anybody like just to comment on this application? Okay. I think no more public comment. So now, with that, would anybody like to make a motion to close the public hearing for case 25-11, 50 Boston Post Road?
So moved.
So that was Kip.
Second.
No, that was already Michaela.
Okay.
Michaela. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstaining? None. Motion passed unanimously 5-0. So now that the public hearing is closed, the rules are that only voting members may participate in deliberations. No new information may be introduced after the close of the public hearing, but members may ask the staff procedural questions. And usually before making any motions, the board discusses the evidence presented during the public hearing, potential reasons, conditions of approval agreed by the applicant, and potential reasons for granting or denying the variances prior to making a motion. So I think usually we go through a logical step. So what is there an unusual hardship or a legal alternative to unusual hardship? And I think the hardship is that basically the existing house is completely in the setback. I think they can't do much about that.
It's a reasonable project
Yeah.
in any other lot without those constraints on it.
Yep, and I think also they have reduced some legal pre-existing nonconformities to help offset the proposed increases in nonconformity. And that includes the side setback. I think that this is the minimum required to make reasonable use of the property because it's a very modest request and the changes are in alignment with, the existing house and the constraints on the property. I think it's in harmony, the intent and purposes on regulations, because it's supported by the neighbors and improves health and safety. I mentioned a few others before.
And like just connecting the building with the garage means you've got a walkway through in the storm or in the winter or anything like that. It's a slight safety issue.
That's
It's an
improving
improvement.
health and safety, yep. All right, the other thing is that the evidence presented during the public hearing and the reasons articulated by the board within the public hearing voting session. So I think we've discussed some reasons. Does everyone agree with those reasons?
I don't
I
know
see-
that I have them all written down, but you do.
Yeah, I have some of them written down, but we'll get them on the recording.
Okay.
And so everyone agrees with that. So with that, would anybody like to make a motion to grant the requested variances to sections 8.81, 8.89, 8.811, 9.31, make sure I got the right ones. Oh, no, it's not 8.81, it's 8.87. I thought I was wrong. Okay, I'll start again. Would anybody like to make a motion to grant the requested variances to section 8.87, 8.89, 8.811, and 9.31 to allow the demolition of the existing detached garage and the construction of a house addition with the attached garage per the site plans prepared by Indigo Land Design LLC and dated June 24th, 2025. And the floor plans and elevations prepared by KV Designs LLC and dated June 1st, 2025, and stamped and signed by the ZBA chair.
I'll make a motion.
That was
Second.
Russ. That was
no
Kip.
conditions. No conditions.
No conditions. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Abstaining? None. Motion passed unanimously 5-0-0.
Who seconded that?
Kip,
Kip.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much. I think that was a very
good
excellent
one.
presentation. It's very clear you worked really hard on this and tried to take it a very modest approach, and it's very appreciated. Thank you. All right. So with that, we're going to move along to case 25-13, 100 Mile Creek Road. Guys, we still have a meeting, so please be quiet. Please be quiet. Go outside. All right. Case 25-13, 100 Mile Creek Road. Requesting variances to convert the existing dwelling that is in the street line setback and is smaller than the required minimum size into an accessory apartment in an RU40 zone. Alan Todd, applicant. This is a non-conforming structure on a conforming RU40 lot. The three variances requested are to sections 7.1, accessory use shall be on the same lot as primary use. Section 7.8.2.1G, accessory apartment shall comply with all setback and coverage requirements as per the current zoning regulation. Period. And then there's also 7.8.2.1C, which per the current zoning regulation says an accessory apartment should have a minimum living space of 500 square feet. However, I'm going to turn this over to our zoning enforcement officer because there's an update in the state statutes. So he's going to tell us how we can,
Well, this is not a new update, but the truth is that for the last 4 or 5 years, these statutes have no longer allowed towns to limit the minimum house size. So you guys have a minimum house size at the moment of 800 square feet. You have a minimum accessory apartment size of 500 square feet. Neither of those is consistent with the statutes as presently written. So I don't know that you can enforce a regulation that is inconsistent with the state statute. So I don't know that you need to grant a variance on that, because I just don't know that the underlying regulation is enforceable.
So I think I touched base with Sylvia a little bit on this, and she said, you as a zoning enforcement officer can decide whether you feel it needs this variance, and whether state statute supersedes the zoning regulations. If so, then we can say that they don't need it, or you can say that maybe they don't need to show hardship. I don't know. So
I just feel comfortable saying I don't believe that they need the variance, because I don't believe that regulation is enforceable.
Okay. So I think that makes things much easier. So if that's the case, based on the zoning enforcement officer's statement, would you modify your request and no longer request that variance?
Yeah, we always want to reduce variances, but the only thing that I'm on the fence about is, as of today, your regulations that are enforced today, it's in there.
Yeah,
as a
exactly.
requirement.
Yeah.
So that's why we requested a variance of that. So does it hurt if we keep the variance in, and then when
But then we'd
the
have
regulations get updated next year, it just goes away?
Well, I guess the thing is, this is what I discussed a little bit with Sylvia.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the thing is, she says it's the zoning enforcement officer's call
Okay.
what variances are needed. If you still request it, then that means we have to apply the hardship requirements, the alignment, intent, purpose, zoning regulation requirements. But if you don't have it, then we don't need to apply those considerations to that particular
That's
variance.
fine. We're not going to argue for less variance than required. So
And again, because
that's fine.
the building is not changing, it's not
Yes.
like you need a permit for this building in any event.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have to sign off on some future permit
Yeah.
and weigh whether or not the building is too small.
Because then
The building-
genuinely the state and the town regulations are conflicting,
And I think state
because
was
you're asking to construct something that
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
This is
the case.
pre-existing.
So in this particular case, the building is the building. The building isn't changing, and it just is the number of square feet it is. I just don't think that I'm gonna need a variance for that particular section.
So based on the zoning enforcement officer's decision that you don't need 7.8.2.1C, do you agree to amend your application to
Yes.
remove the request for that variance?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's very good. So
and
then we're
that's
down
on
to two.
record that we.
Yeah, we just want to
You've
put
been-
that on the record.
You're not
Okay.
trying
It's
to
also
skip
on
it.
the record that was clarified with ZBA counsel
Yes.
and your zoning enforcement.
Yes,
officer.
yes, okay.
I'm
So,
Covered.
so with that, now you can go on to your presentation.
Thank you. Again, for the record, Joe Wren, professional engineer of Indigo in Old Saybrook. Now we have less people in the room, and Caroline from my office is here. And then on this side, we have Alan Todd, who is the owner of this property. So this is a somewhat unique request. We're not used to, or the board is really not used to seeing these types of variances. We may have done one or two over 23 years, but not too often. So what we have here is a very large property that goes all the way back to the wetlands and the creek that goes to the Black Hall River. It's 100 Mile Creek Road. The property area is nearly 4 acres, gross 3.94 acres. And we have wetlands, we have the buffers shown on here for later zoning. But the real reason why we're here this evening is for this tiny little existing house that was built in 1910. So 1910 is 115, I don't know how many months, but 115 years. And it's been a small little house close to Mile Creek Road for all those years. It's a little dwelling, it's self-contained, there's a well, there's a little septic system in the dry well.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
If something's over 100 years old, is it considered historic?
Not unless it's on the register, the National Historic
Okay.
Register, right?
Okay, just wanted to ask.
Mhm.
They have to apply.
Oh, okay.
It could be, but.
Right.
Okay, I just wanted to know if it was existing.
Yeah, there's a whole process. You could apply for it and then you have to get approved. It's like
Okay,
not
no
everybody
problem.
gets approved. It has to have certain architectural features,
Okay,
period
it's not-
details and so forth. Right.
Okay, thank you.
So that's that little tiny area there, and even with that little bump in the back, it's 426 square feet. So that was one of the variances, we now removed it, but because you had the 500 square foot minimum, so that is off now, we were just under that 500 square feet. So the other two left are 7.1, accessory and primary use, and then the other one is setbacks, and setbacks is a little easier to demonstrate, so I'll just show that one first. So the accessory, right now, this is the primary dwelling on the property, and it is over the front setback. You can see the dashed line coming through it, and it is 41.9 feet, where 50 feet is required, so it's 8.1 feet over the setback line. But of course, it was built in 1910 when there were no zoning regulations, and it's pre-existing non-conforming. So since that, there is part of your accessory dwelling zoning regulation that says if you actually propose an accessory dwelling or an accessory building, it has to meet all the applicable setbacks. So this doesn't meet front yard. It meets sides, it meets rear by several hundred feet, but it is close to the street because of its age and where it was originally constructed. Now the more interesting part of this is that what we're asking you to do is to consider this accessory, even though it's primary right now, which would open the door for Alan to build a house, a larger primary house here, which he plans to do and complete over the next 18 months, correct?
Yes.
In total, complete, done, move in. And Eric and I had talked about, I think that's in Eric's letter too, that is a condition that the house has to be not permitted, but completed within 18 months.
So that's an
of this.
agreed condition of approval.
Yes.
I think
Right.
that's very important. So the agreed condition of approval, if I'm clarifying is correct,
Yep.
a primary dwelling fully complying with all Lyme zoning regulations to be constructed on a lot with an 18.
Well, I'm missing some of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
okay,
okay.
sorry.
You could have
Please
don't have
do.
to say-
Please introduce yourself.
Alan Todd. Is the
Alan
property
Todd,
owner.
thank you. So I just want to clarify, so if this would be an acceptable condition of approval, because if I'm reading your application, I think it is.
Yes.
A primary dwelling fully complying with old Lyme zoning regulations to be constructed on the lot within 18 months after the ZBA appeal period.
Yes.
That's what's
So
listed
constructed
in-
within 18 months,
Yes.
right? Yes.
That's our plan.
Right, and so that it addresses the variance related to the accessory structure without a primary structure, because you would have a primary structure. And if you didn't have a primary structure, then you lose the variance on the accessory structure.
Correct.
So I think that's a really good,
You might want to add constructed and completed.
oh,
That's fine.
Okay.
Completed. I mean, maybe not all the landscaping and everything, but the house, C of O for the house.
Constructed and-
Move-in condition.
Yes.
Be constructed and completed, do you know?
Certificate of
I'm trying
occupancy.
Is not.
What's that?
What happens if it is not?
Well, then the variance expires, right?
it's
Yeah,
no
that-
longer
that
an
feature
accessory
of the variance-
structure.
Okay.
It goes back to being a primary structure.
And then what?
Well,
No, then they're back to where they are now. They have a small primary structure on this huge
But are
lot.
you allowed two primary structures on the same lot?
you're not, that's the whole point.
Right.
The whole point here is that theoretically, this would be an accessory structure to a primary. If there's no primary, they're asking for an accessory without a primary, it's a problem. So they're saying, we'll build the primary, give us 18 months, and then this will be an accessory with a primary on the same lot. If they don't complete, then that part of the variance would be essentially in violation, and will expire, and then it'll obviously start again. So he's committing to you 18 months, and we'll be ready to get a CO on the property.
And if they don't complete it, if they started and don't complete it, I guess they have an option of just removing this accessory structure.
Or coming back to the ZBA and asking for some additional time.
An extension or, but I'm saying like,
I mean, that
there's
structure's
lots of
been
ways
there
to
100
address the
years.
fact that they don't.
We're just changing the title that we call that. This isn't gonna be an overburdened lot, that's
Yeah.
a fully compliant structure that you're building.
Yeah.
And you're just gonna say, all right, I've already got this tiny thing, I've got a beautiful big lot, I wanna build that one and just start calling that an accessory structure. It's the same darn building that's been there for 100 years,
Yeah.
so all we're doing is changing the designation
The
for
use.
that.
So what's the advantage of asking now instead of once the building is built? Like somebody's living there and you're building a house in the back, why come first?
So this building, proposed primary structure here is just an administrative zoning approval.
But you can't have two primary
can't-
structures on the
Right.
same
So
plot.
Eric won't be able
So
to.
even though
approve
you're
that.
building it, they would
Right.
want that, that
You'd
would
need
have
a-
to go.
You'd have to permit it, and it'd have to be two.
At that point, I would need to know what the other structure was, and they would say, oh, it's an accessory apartment, and I'd say, no, it's not, because you can get a permit
Right.
for it.
Uh-huh.
We have to go through this formalism to make it possible for
Right.
him to build that and turn this into an accessory.
Because otherwise
It
you'd have
opens
two-
the doors
before
so
you-
you can request a permit for a primary.
Because otherwise there'd be two primary structures on the same
you
lot,
can't
which you
have.
can't have.
So will it be a
That's
rental
22.
property then?
It
Once
has
the-
been since we've owned
It
it.
has been, you're not living in it.
No.
And it'll remain a rental property,
It's affordable housing.
You called it affordable housing. Is that, though, a legal term these days?
Okay.
Do we need to
It-
consider that? Okay.
It's not deed restricted affordable housing, so it doesn't qualify under 830G as affordable under the state's definition of affordable. That said, obviously the people who are living there have, I'm guessing, have income levels that make it affordable in all but the state's definition. So we're not getting credit for it, but it is essentially by rental terms an affordable unit. So
And it does help with the whole concept of improving more housing in Lyme.
Affordability, right.
Yeah.
And I know
More
that
options.
there have been a lot of discussions at the legislative level about how to better capture some of these units that aren't deed restricted, but are at a price point that is considered to be affordable. Because a lot of towns are saying, look, we have a lot of affordable housing, but it's not being captured properly because it isn't deed restricted. So what do we do about that?
Yeah, what's deed restricted mean? Because I'm a little foggy.
Okay. Deed restricted means that for a period of time, under 830G, it's a period of 30 years, you cannot either rent or sell it for higher than the affordable rate. So if, say, you built a brand new affordable house, like that we're going to be doing on Flat Rock Hill in the near future, and it's an affordable housing unit, at that point in time, anybody who buys it cannot buy it for a price higher than what the state says is the affordable price for 30 years. Or if it's a rental unit, every time someone comes in to rent it, they have to show that their income does not exceed the price point for income level there. So
But your case is this is sort of de facto
it's de facto, but it doesn't
affordable
have the
housing,
deed
whether it's
restriction.
legally or not,
It
right?
doesn't have the deed restriction that would make it qualify under our 830G.
Which is a showing of goodwill from the town, is that you're trying to encourage some structures that at least de facto are.
And it's just good for the town overall to have some more affordable
Can I
housing.
ask, are there tax advantages if you wanted to apply in the future? If we prove this, and would there
No,
be
in the
tax
sense that
advantages to him?
The value of the structure is the value of the structure. So I mean,
Oh,
and this
okay.
is more of a tax assessor issue.
Yeah,
than
yeah,
it is,
yeah,
But I mean, I don't think it's going to matter from the standpoint of, frankly, I don't think the structure's worth much anyway. So I'm not sure you're going to get much change in the value of the structure based on that. But that said, again, there are other benefits that that the town can provide if you give an affordable unit. I mean, ultimately, the town has an incentive to get to 10%, which we're never going to get to, but it's going to approach 10% with a number of affordable units. In the special session coming up next month, they're going to probably mandate that Old Lyme have 422 new affordable units, and they've got to have them somewhere. So the town, I'm sure, will be creating incentives in some way, shape, or form to try and create these units. And if this is already available, I'm sure the town will try its best to make sure that they're credited in some way.
But
I'm just
all this is outside the scope of the ZBA,
Yes.
and I'm just feeling like it's
But
respectful of
keep your ears
people's
open.
time. But it's respectful of people's time, I think the thing is,
But just
we're
one other
focused on-
important fact associated with that, I just asked Alan, and that rent is $1,500 a month. That's less than the affordable rental rate in this area right now. So it's
Yeah.
even more affordable than the affordable required levels.
okay.
When interest rates are high, the affordable rent levels are high.
And I'm just saying, part of the reason we're talking about it is because you use that term in the application or in the paperwork that I read.
Yeah, so it's not, it's not saying that it's a deed restricted affordable unit, it's just saying it's generally it's an affordable
The generic term.
residential
affordable.
Yeah,
unit in the
yeah,
town
yeah,
of
not
Brentwood.
capitalized.
Strict legal.
Right,
Okay.
exactly. It's not, what is it, 1040 dash, there's a regulation.
The state statute is 8-30G.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it's not that.
It is not an 830G affordable unit.
Okay, so we'll
But
clarify
said,
that.
it is, as commonly understood, it is affordable to live there, okay?
Yeah,
That's it.
okay. So, go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question about there's a town right of way that's on the edge of the
Right.
property.
Yep.
And when I drove past there, I noticed that there were some new-ish plantings that make it difficult to
Right.
get through there. And there was also some recent brush that appeared to have been dumped kind of recently. And I would like to make a condition of approval that that right-of-way be kept clear. I don't think the plantings need to be removed, but that no further plantings go in.
You hear that, Alan?
I hear it, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know that the town has not been maintaining that for many years. I didn't even know it was there until I saw it on the thing, and I said, what is that town right-of-way? And I went over there and saw it.
We didn't intend to take away,
Yeah.
obliterate that right of way. We move it over so they still have access, but it's not in that particular footprint. It's over 10 feet or something.
Yeah, I would just like to have it on record that that is a town right-of-way, and it should be, one of the conditions of approval should be that it remains accessible.
So I guess my question is just legally, is that like the purview of the zoning board of appeals to ensure access to right of way, or is that a town?
Well,
has
it's
it?
encroaching, right?
I mean,
Yeah,
it doesn't factor into the hardship calculation, I'll say that much. If he's going to volunteer it, great, but you can't force him to make that a condition of approval,
Okay.
because that doesn't factor into whether there's an inherent hardship with this site or not.
Oh,
But
okay.
also, it's a full legal process. You can't just get rid of the right of way. That would be a town meeting, and the town would
Right,
have
no,
to
no,
vote
but
on
what
that.
I'm saying is that there are new plantings.
What she
there.
wants to do is make sure, as a condition of approval, that he clears the right of way so
Right.
that it's accessible,
Right,
okay? So
So
that's-
I
There is a
guess-
right of way
yes.
of access. I haven't taken away the
No, I
right of way.
understand.
It's here instead of where it's drawn on
but
there.
this gets back to Sylvia's point that she makes quite often, sometimes when we ask about approvals, conditions of approvals, like, if that is the only reason you'd be, it's not okay to just tack on things you want. If that would be the reason that you would approve this or not, then it should be included as a condition of approval. But if you would approve this because you think it has a hardship and it is in line with
Okay.
10% zoning regulation, then we shouldn't make that as nice to have condition of approval.
So-
I think that's what she usually tells us when we ask her questions.
Alan is the property owner. He's aware of the right of way. One of the very first things he said to me, we can't, put the house there. We have to keep that right of way.
Yeah.
And I think he has no problem in keeping that open for people to pass.
There is a right of way, and I would
And
maintain a
legally-
right of way.
and
Okay,
legally-
that's all I want to hear.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
That's
Okay,
great.
I
you're-
have a
Where does
concern.
that right of way go to? What is that
It
purpose?
goes to an
There's an
old town
adjacent
dump.
property that's owned by the town.
It's an old dump, like a bottle dump.
Bottle.
I'm assuming it was,
Yeah.
somebody didn't pay taxes
No, it was
100 years
actually-
ago, or I have no idea
It
how.
was used as a bottle dump, like for glassware. Yeah.
I cleared a lot of.
Across from Stoneman Hill too, there's
Yeah.
an old dump bottle.
Yeah.
When I bought my property, it was a dump at one time in the past. I
Yeah.
took two 30-yard dumpsters
Oh, wow.
of trash off my property.
Wow.
It's never been cleared off the town property.
Right,
Okay.
right.
It just still exists there.
So as long as you're aware and willing to keep it clear, I'm happy. That's
Okay.
good.
Someone else
And
had a
this is probably
question.
not our purview either, but I drove in and looked at it and all, it's fine. But coming out, I thought coming out, it was sort of a blind driveway because you're coming like up the hill and there's a stone wall and then the road is curved. And like my car is a little low, it's certainly not a truck. But I thought it was, to have two homes there now coming out that driveway, I really thought it
But I
was
think
a little
that's something
blind.
you would address when you build the
During
house.
site plan,
Yeah.
so we are not,
Yeah.
part of this application is not a proposed house.
Yeah,
It is only to change the legal of that
Yeah.
unit, that's it.
yeah.
Yes, I don't know. That was my
I
only concern.
think as an overview, the way I'm looking at this project, it's like, it is, to be fair, a little ridiculous to have one of the tiniest houses in Connecticut on an old Lyme on an oversized lot. With,
Sure.
a good house belongs there. And if we have to do this, sort of flip this and that and say, all right, that's how you get two buildings on the property. This one is going to become accessory when the other one is going to be.
Yeah, I think, they have a hardship because it's the house, its existing house is in the setback. It's 100 years old, it's there. You want to make use of
Smaller than
it.
your minimum.
Yeah. We don't worry about the small, the minimum,
Right.
and the condition, the other variance is related to the adding an accessory structure and a primary structure. But they're agreeing to, and I see if you like the wording of this, complete construction of a primary dwelling fully compliant with the zoning regulations on the lot within 18 months of the ZBA appeal period. So to me, it's like that, the two variances they're asking for, they've addressed. But if anyone else has any questions
I
or,
just want to make one additional comment to help placate some concerns here. Because this is an accessory apartment, it will have to get a special permit from the zoning commission. And therefore, issues such as sightline, issues such as right-of-way can be taken up by the zoning commission when they handle the special permit application.
Okay.
So there is another body that is going to be looking at this after this meeting.
Okay.
which is good. So we're sticking to our purview of those variances.
Right.
Everyone's okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, with, does anyone have public comment? Would I like to speak in favor of this application? Oppose this application? Just comment on this application? Okay, no public comment. So if no one has any other questions, I think we can ask if anyone would like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
So just one quick comment.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't go through 2 through 6, but I think we hit on every single point during our discussion, so I don't think we need to go through.
Yeah, I think it's pretty
We would
straightforward.
just be beating a dead horse, we would be repeating everything we just said, so the discussion was good. It was more like a town hall type discussion, no pun intended.
All right. So I'm glad you think that all the points have been touched upon.
Yeah, everything that we mentioned in the application, I was going, as you were talking, I was going down through, and everything's.
Yeah, I just ask Eric, all things going the way they're going, when does the clock start ticking on 18 months?
I would say once they get the special permit, because they can't build until they get the special permit. So I think that realistically, I don't want to start the clock today and have him take 2-3 months to run the zoning commission, and then it'll get down to 12 months or whatever it is. So
That's
Plus, we have almost a month before this gets published in the newspaper, and we're through the appeal period. That's 3 weeks right there.
so
That's why it said for the appeal period, but maybe we should change from the appeal period to,
Like you said, 18 months begins once special permit is
Yes.
granted.
That's a good, because it could be 2 months before we get on the zoning agenda, and that's another 2 months
Yeah.
off of the
Yeah,
18,
yeah.
so I think that's a very valid point.
that's a very good point.
It's not
Thanks,
like
Brian.
this is not your intention, is to actually construct that, and then that turns that into an accessory apartment. And what we're thinking about and considering lines up pretty easily around that.
One option
The
that Alan
timing
had
is-
was just to bulldoze that,
Oh.
right? And then build the house, and he wouldn't have had to come to ZBA, but he chose to go this route so he can maintain that
Yeah.
and
that's
maintain
great.
that.
It looks a good shape.
So can I just clarify, getting back to the condition of approval? So complete construction of a primary dwelling fully compliant with OLM zoning regulations within 18 months of approval of this accessory special permit?
with approval by the zoning commission of the special permit for the accessory apartment.
Can you get that?
Can you get that by
I
hand?
got it.
Just
I
say it
just-
slower.
I just said.
That's
So
the
it's-
only reason why a special permit
Okay,
would be
okay, let's
required.
get this.
With the
Complete
lemon
construction of a primary dwelling.
Oh, you're gonna start there.
Yeah, complete construction of a primary dwelling fully compliant with old Lyme zoning regulations on the lot within 18 months of
18
Granting
months.
of the special permit
granting,
for accessory use by the zoning commission.
Special permit of accessory use
Accessory apartment, yes, or accessory use,
is what you said.
Okay.
Accessory use.
by the zoning commission.
that makes really good point, Brian.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up, because time ticks.
Yes.
Yeah, we were originally thinking about after the appeal period to get us through the next 3 weeks, but then because we do, Eric just brought up that valid point that we need that special use permit, so
Okay.
that could be a month or two down the road.
Okay, so now would anybody like to make a motion to close the public hearing?
One last thing.
Oh.
Because I was out of my normal presentation here because of our town hall. But we didn't talk about health, so there's an email from.
That's in the
Legislate-
file, yeah.
From Cheryl, that should be
Yeah.
in the file,
That's in the
just
file.
stating that she really has nothing to review, there's no proposed building, this has its
Yeah.
own system, and that's just an email
This is,
stating that.
I know it's in the file somewhere.
Okay.
'cause
It
I've
is,
seen it.
yeah.
All right.
We saw it.
Okay, all right. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, now, would anybody like to make a motion to close the public hearing for case 25-13, 100 Mile Creek Road?
So moved.
Okay, that was Michaela and Kip. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Abstaining? None. The motion passed unanimously 5-0. Am I going too fast, Stephanie?
No.
Okay. Okay, public hearing is closed, same rules apply. And the board will discuss the evidence presented during the public hearing, potential conditions of approval agreed by the applicant, and potential reasons for granting or denying the variance is trying to make a motion. I think we've summarized that during the meeting, that the unusual hardship is the existing dwelling is already in the setback. Exists in the setback. There's no proposed reduction in legal nonconformity because they're making no change to the structure. It's the minimum, the minimum to address the hardship and allow reasonable use. Yes, it's allowing reasonable use to have an accessory structure. This is the key one. Agreed conditions of approval. Complete the construction of a primary dwelling fully compliant with the old Lyme zoning regulations on the lot within 18 months of.
On the lot.
It's
On the
right
lot.
there already. Oh, okay,
Yeah, I just took that out.
Okay.
You kept the on the lot.
okay.
Okay. I'll get it back.
Yeah,
Can I read mine?
yeah.
To complete construction of a primary dwelling fully compliant with old Lyme zoning regulations on the lot within 18 months of the special permit.
Granting of the special permit.
Within 18 months of granting of the special permit of accessory use by the zoning commission. Enough?
Instead of it'd be because we don't know what.
Of
Within
a
18
special permit.
Yeah.
Of a special permit
For,
for accessory use.
yeah,
I'll write it again.
by the zoning commission.
Yep.
Okay. And I think it's intent with the intent, it's in harmony with the intent and purposes of zoning regulations because it's providing more housing in Old Lyme. We're not gonna get too hung up on the
Yep.
word affordable.
Say low rent.
Low rent,
That brings it down.
yeah.
That shares its own connotation.
No. Okay, we'll just say,
Technically,
Okay, take that out.
and it provides what?
reasonable rent.
Okay,
Reasonable rent?
reasonable
Is that what you're
rent.
saying?
Reasonable, okay.
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 And the evidence presented during the public hearing and the reasons articulated by the board within the public hearing or voting session. So with that in mind, would anybody like to make a motion to grant with conditions the requested variances to section 7.1 and 7.8.2.1G. We're not giving the one for C. To allow the existing small dwelling to be converted to an accessory apartment per the site plans prepared by Indigo Land Design and dated August 7th, 2025.
So moved.
I guess my question is, the floor, since the voting, since the building's not changing, do we need to say something about the floor plan and the elevations? I don't think so.
No.
Okay, good. And stamped and signed by the ZBA chair. The conditions are,
About to rewrite it. But I'll read it. I'll read it.
Yeah.
To complete construction of a primary dwelling fully compliant with Old Lyme zoning regulations on the lot within 18 months of granting of a special permit for accessory use by the zoning commission.
okay. I think that captures it. Would anybody like to make that motion?
So moved.
Kip?
Second.
Russ? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstaining? None. The motion passed unanimously 5-0. Thank you very much. Good luck with your special permit.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. All right. So now we're moving on to the regular meeting. What time is it?
7:50.
Okay. We'll try to get through this quickly. There's no old business. The new business is receipt and setting of public hearings for new applications. There's one new case that's been submitted, plus the two that were continued from this month. That's case 25-14, 41 Hartford Avenue. In-kind construction on a concrete foundation of one of two existing non-conforming dwellings located on a non-conforming lot in the Soundview Village District. This application is being received today, and the public hearing will be scheduled for the November 20th, 2025 ZBA meeting because the application is incomplete. It's missing the Ledgelight Health District approval.
Did you mean October or November?
I meant November. I should have. Yeah. So there's the two. So October will just have the two delayed cases, and right now November has one new case.
That's the 41 Hartford Avenue.
41.
41 Hartford?
41 Hartford Avenue. And yeah, the Ledgelight Health District's complicated because I won't get into it. Okay, and just the update. So I learned from Russ that he will not be at the November meeting. No, not the October meeting. He'll not be at the October meeting. I think next alternate in line is Brian, because you were the last time, then Michaela did this time, so Brian's the next.
I would suggest that since I won't be running that Kathleen and Michaela be primaries, and I'm certainly here should somebody know.
Oh, okay.
And I
Okay,
think
so that means it's Kathleen's
The
turn.
carryover effect will be more beneficial should
Okay.
the case go.
Okay,
Because if I'm not here, then I'm.
that's a good point. All right, so then, that's good, we talked about it. So Kathleen, are you okay for being the alternate for Russ at this October meeting?
October 16th.
And Michaela, you're backup. And
If
if
needed,
both, it
yeah.
will be your backup.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. All right. Thank you for being so thoughtful. And anyone else who's going to attend, not be at the meeting, also please let me know. Now, the correspondence and announcement. I just sent it around an email that Eric sent out to the chairs of the boards, commissions, and committees today related to the zoning commission's work on updating the zoning regulations. So I just think it's their effort to be really open, transparent, and efficient has been being supported, and it's just everyone has asked questions before about this. Now there's a communication with attachments and a timeline, so that will hopefully make everyone feel more comfortable
It's
with
going to
the
be on the
process.
town's webpage, it's going to be on the zoning.
No, it's very helpful because at Shoreline Gateway we get a lot of questions.
Well,
And we have questions ourselves.
Yeah.
So that's why I tried to send it around.
Yeah, that was great.
So he sent it out to the board chairs because it's too hard to send it to everybody, and then the board chairs send it out to the members. So that's good. All right, so thank you very much for that, Eric. Now, then also on the agenda is adopting the 2026 dates for the regular ZBA meetings. We checked, there's no holidays this year on our dates. So it's still the third Thursday of the month, except August and December. And I sent it around, Craig sent it around, but also if anybody wants a hard copy, I think there's hard copies in the box.
I'll send.
Okay,
I put it in my calendar already.
great job, thank you.
Listen.
All right, so then, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the 2026 regular ZBA meeting dates?
So move.
Stephanie
I'll second.
and Michaela. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstaining? None. The motion passed unanimously 5-0. And then also we have a document called the official application due dates, which is also prepared based on existing ZBA policy of allowing staff a 2-week review period before the legal receipt to determine whether an application is complete prior to scheduling the public hearing. And so Craig put that together, and that was also sent around to everybody. It's basically just our existing policy, just put on dates. So if no one has any discussion, would anybody like to make a motion to approve the 2026 application due dates?
So moved.
Kip,
Second.
Russ, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Abstaining? None. Motion passed unanimously 5-0. And with that, then we're moving on to the approval of meeting minutes for the July 17th, 2025 ZBA regular meeting. Does anybody have any proposed amendments to the minutes? No. Okay. So, let's try to think. Who needs to vote on this?
I'm
Everyone was-
abstaining.
I'm gonna abstain too.
I was not there.
Yeah, okay, so that's, voting on this will be Brian.
Okay, let's see.
I was there.
Yeah, so
Brian.
Kathleen, Brian, Russ,
Russ.
Nancy, and Kip will be the ones voting on the minutes. Okay, so would anybody like to make a
motion to approve minutes.
Okay, that was Kip,
I'll second.
that was Kathleen.
Yeah.
All those in favor of those 5 we just named? Oh, okay, aye. Opposed? None. Abstaining? None. The motion passed.
No, we're
unanimously.
abstaining. I'm abstaining. All the
No,
people
but you weren't voting.
Yeah, we're not even
Oh, okay.
voting, so
It's the
We're just-
people voting.
we're just lumps in the
okay.
chair.
If you were there, you voted. If you weren't there,
I mean, that's
Okay.
the way to do it, right? The people were at the
Yes.
meeting. So it's Kathleen, Russ, me, Kip, and Brian.
The
Right.
people
Those
who
are
are
the
at
ones
the meeting
voting.
should vote on those minutes.
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
the only ones that matter.
So that was 5-0. And then would anybody like to make anything else before we make a motion to adjourn the meeting? Okay, good.
Motion to adjourn.
Kip,
Second.
Russ, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstaining? None. Motion passed unanimously 5-0. And the time is
8 o'clock. 7:57.
7:57.
Good job.